This is Susan Bradley for CSO Online. Today we're going to talk about ransomware. It's once again in the news. Attackers are reportedly targeting healthcare providers and are using phishing targets to gain access to your network. They're using phishing emails disguised as meeting invites or invoices that contain links to Google Documents, which then lead to PDFs. These PDFs contain links to signed executable files that have names with distinctive words like preview and test. Once the ransomware enters the system, the attackers go after low-hanging fruit that we've left behind on our networks to be able to move through our networks and do more damage. So let's discuss a few of these low-hanging fruit items and how you can check for them to ensure that you're not making it easier for ransomware attackers to enter in your system. Did you ever store passwords in group policy preferences? Back in 2014, MS 14025 patched a group policy preference vulnerability and removed the ability to store passwords insecurely. But it didn't remove the passwords if you'd previously stored them in there. So think back if you were ever, or actually in most cases, a previous administrator ever stored passwords inside group policy preferences, the attacker may be able to use a quick little PowerShell command and gather those information from your network. There's a tool called PowerSploit, and it has a PowerShell command called get GPP password PS1. Run this in your network and it will expose those saved group policy preference passwords left behind. Think of how else you save passwords for use in networks. Do you save them in an insecure manner? Do you have them left behind in remote access tools? Things that can be easily obtained by attackers. Think of the places that you store this information and think if you're protecting it as well as you can. Another low-hanging fruit that often exposes us to attacks. Remote desktop protocol. I still see constant reports in various locations that brute force and credential harvesting is used to break into remote desktop protocol that is open to the web. Too often it's easy to set up servers, even virtual machines, even on Azure, that has open RDP. So make sure you tuck it behind remote desktop gateway, or better yet, two-factor authentication. There's lots of tools out there. One of them that I personally use is duo.com. As this UC Berkeley tip, use strong passwords, use two-factor authentication, make sure you update your software, restrict access using firewalls. You can limit the ability to remote in to specific IP addresses, ensure that you're using network label authentication, and limit users who can log in via remote desktop. Set an account lockout policy. Don't allow remote desktop for servers or workstations for off-campus. Make sure you protect yourself behind VPN or some other solution. Again, do the basics. The attackers know the low-hanging fruit and will go after you. Do you or your end users reuse passwords? Often websites suffer data breaches and passwords are harvested. Attackers gain access to these harvested passwords in various data dump locations. They then use it against resources. So, for example, someone will have a intrusion, passwords will be obtained, and then they'll use them against your Microsoft 365 access. The other day, someone had a very good phrase that I borrowed and I'm going to keep, and I would recommend that you think about it too. He said, attackers don't break in these days, they log in. Think about that. They don't have to crack the passwords anymore. They already have the password. So ensuring that you've enabled multi-factor authentication in your organization is key, as well as picking a long, strong password. So use a password manager program and encourage people in your organization to use it as well. Microsoft warned the other day that attackers are now using the NetLogon vulnerability called Zero Login. They recently indicated that attackers are now attempting to exploit this. CSO Online actually has resources that you can read to how to best protect yourself and what to do about this. So keep in mind, attackers know that we're still in the process of patching for this. You need to have the patch on your domain controllers. And if you don't, it leaves yourself exposed that they can wiggle in and use that for more lateral movement. Another easy way of lateral movement is have the SMB v1 still enabled in your organization. SMB v1 is a 30-year-old protocol and you should move away from using it. There are various ways to disable and remove SMB v1 from your network, including group policy, PowerShell, and registry keys. Again, take the time to look to see if you're making it easier for your attackers to have these old protocols in place. Next, make sure that you have an email hygiene in front of your email coming in. Attackers use email as an easy way to get inside our organization. Phishing emails come in all the time. And if you have an email hygiene program or Office 365 / Microsoft 365 Advanced Threat Protection, make sure you have it set up as good as you can. Make sure that it's scanning for links, reviewing the content, and ensuring that your system is set up as secure as can be. There's a tool called Orca that can check the Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection settings, as well as using the Secure Score inside Microsoft 365. Last but not least, make sure you patch your humans. I often see malicious emails enter into my inbox even with all the settings properly set. People and attackers know how to get in. Even with all the phishing and hygiene equipment we have, they still wiggle in. Recently, Troy Hunt wrote a really good blog post about how fonts we use in browsers often make it difficult to determine what a good website is and what a bad website. But he pointed out that really worrying about fonts and browsers was not the right thing to think about. What we really need to have instead was a good password manager program that would automatically determine what is a valid website and offer up to fill in the password only to those sites that match the database. Also, make sure that you have a good browser and it's set to proper security. Ensure that you give your network and your users a fighting chance by enabling tools and settings that you probably already have or already should have as a baseline security posture. Take the time to understand what you have already in your environment, set it up properly, and secure yourself. Remember to make sure that your low-hanging fruit is not exposing you. Remote desktop protocol, virtual desktop endpoints, older unsupported platforms, Citrix, Pulse VPN, misconfigured web servers, SharePoint servers, Exchange servers, Zoho managed engine systems. Look for those entry points and make sure you've done the basics of ensuring that you're patched for those items. And as always, stop by the IDG Tech Talk YouTube channel for the latest in tech. Every day there's a new video up. Until next time, this is Susan Bradley for CSO Online. Stay safe, stay secure.